Welcome to Thrive at Any Size, a podcast for women ready to reconnect with their bodies and build sustainable wellness without perfectionism. I'm Leanna, a registered nurse and online health coach. Together, we'll explore intuitive living, evidence-informed wellness, and the habits that support long-term health. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome back to Thrive at Any Size. I'm so glad you're here. Today, we're talking about something that every single one of us experiences and we often judge ourselves for, and those are those low energy days. Those days when your body feels heavy, your mind is foggy, you have no motivation, the simplest tasks feel so daunting. And if you're anything like me, low energy days bring up two big emotions. The first is guilt because you feel like you should be able to push through. And the second is frustration because you want to do more than your body has the capacity to do. But in truth, low energy days aren't a failure. They're communication. And when we really work hard to learn to support your body instead of fighting it, all of this becomes a lot more sustainable. So let's dive in. Low energy days are not a sign that you're doing anything wrong. They're just a sign that your body is responding to something real. And your energy can shift because of things like poor sleep, stress, your cycle, illness, mental fatigue, emotional load, uh, deficient nutrients, and maybe just needing recovery from, working out. Your body Your body's not meant to feel the same every day. Your energy is not meant to be linear, but we've been conditioned to believe that consistency means sameness and that showing up every day should look identical every day. And here's something that I really want to point out because I think it shows up for so many of us, and I know it's shown up for me in the past. It's that sometimes consistency is just perfectionism in disguise. You don't see consistency as just showing up in the way that you can today. You see consistency as needing to get it right every single time. And for a while, that might work until it doesn't anymore, right? Because having to get it right every single time, that's not consistency, that's pressure. And pressure is the very thing that makes low energy days feel like a failure instead of like communication. So, on low energy days, instead of asking yourself, what's wrong with me? Try asking, what is my body trying to tell me today? Because your energy isn't inconsistent. Your life is, and that's okay. Low energy days are where the all or nothing mindset loves to creep in. You wake up tired and you think something like, oh, if I can't do my full routine, I'm just going to skip everything. Or if I don't work out today, forget today. I'm just going to start over tomorrow. Or, I'm too tired to cook. So I'm just going to eat whatever and start that diet over again on Monday. But the truth is, the trap isn't the low energy. The trap is that story you've attached to it in your mind. Low energy doesn't mean that you're off track. It just means that your body needs support. And when you learn to support yourself on those low energy days, you're able to break that all or nothing cycle for good. So low energy isn't a setback. It's a signal. And we've really got to start listening. Low energy is your body trying to tell you it needs rest or it needs more nourishment or it needs gentler movement or less stimulation. And basically, your body just needs more compassion, right? Your body is trying to be honest with you. And when you respond with support instead of putting more pressure on it, everything really does shift. And this is where we kind of can move from that control we talked about in episode 3 to connection. Because your body doesn't need discipline, it needs support. This shows up in my life all the time. Recently I've been in a season where low energy days aren't random, they're actually quite frequent. And I'm entering like a perimenopause era. And over the last 3 or 4 weeks, I've actually noticed that my sleep has been so unpredictable. And even on nights where the kids don't wake me up, I wake up usually around 3 or 3:30 in the morning, and I struggle to fall back to sleep. So whether it's my kids keeping me up or my hormones keeping me up, I feel like I spend at least half of my week in a low energy state. And that's where a lot of the times that guilt and frustration used to take over. The guilt used to tell me that I should still get up early and I should stick to the plan. And then frustration would be like, oh, I really wish I could just feel like myself. I want to have the energy I used to have. But now I use connection to ask myself a different question. And that is, given the reality of my body today, what would support look like today? And honestly, that question changes everything. Some days, that support looks like moving my workout from the morning to the afternoon so I can get an extra hour of sleep. Some days it looks like skipping the workout altogether and just focusing on steps or gentle movement. I've been increasing my hydration. I've been prioritizing meal prep so that I have nourishing breakfasts and lunches ready to go for work. Because I've noticed that when my energy dips, my hunger increases. And just having those options on hand keeps me from grabbing something from like the school vending machine or, skipping meals altogether, which honestly was my MO and only really leads to more cravings, more irritability, and even lower energy. So these adjustments aren't me failing or me like falling off track. They're me responding to the season that I'm in. And adjusting isn't giving up, it's honoring your capacity. So before I dive into how you can support yourself, I want to name something a little bit important before we dive in. Not all low energy days are the same. And when you can identify which type of low energy day you're having, you can respond in a way that actually helps instead of kind of defaulting to that guilt and frustration or all or nothing thinking. Most low energy days fall into one of four categories. That's the sleep deprived low energy, the hormonal low energy, the emotional low energy, and the overloaded low energy. So I want to walk through each one really quickly and identify what connection would look like in each scenario. So let's start with the sleep deprived low energy. Here, your body is under recovered. So connection is going to look like eating enough, getting gentle movement, an earlier bedtime, reducing stimulation as much as you can, and lowering expectations. And here you want to remind yourself that rest is still productive. Now, on our hormonal low energy days, usually common in our late luteal phase when ovulation dips or when we're having like postpartum shifts, here it's because your physiology is changing. So here connection will look like having more nourishment, more comfort, more rest, less pressure, and definitely a whole lot more compassion because your hormones aren't the enemy, they're information. Now, third, emotional low energy. This is the stress, the grief, overstimulation. They're just draining your energy just as much as physical exertion can. So, here, connection's going to look like slowing down, doing things to help regulate your nervous system, asking for help. Oh my gosh, a big one and one I struggle with still to this day. I'm getting a lot better, but asking for help, delegating out tasks for the household if you can, creating space for yourself, and maybe letting something go, like taking something off the to do list. Okay. Because emotional exhaustion counts just as much as real exhaustion. Our last low energy state is the overloaded low energy state. Now, this is when you just got too many things going on, right? Too many tasks, too many people need you, too much on your plate. And so here it looks like creating a bare minimum list and sticking to that, delegating, like we mentioned before, making very simple meals, shortening your routines, and taking frequent rest throughout the day. Sometimes the most supportive thing you can do is less. Now, you may have noted that on all four low energy types, more nourishment was a part of connection, right? And that's because on low energy days, your body often needs more nourishment, not less. But diet culture has taught us the opposite. It has taught us that if you're not moving much, you shouldn't eat very much. But the truth is, your brain, your nervous system, your hormones, your immune system, all require energy to function. And even on those days where we're not physically active, our body is still doing so much behind the scenes internally. And low energy is not a sign that you should restrict yourself more. Like I said, it's a sign to support your body. And on these days, I think about meals and snacks that feel stabilizing, right? Foods that give me steady energy, balanced plates, foods that feel comforting and don't require a whole ton of effort. And hydration matters too, especially when you're feeling tired or foggy. So, low energy doesn't mean you should eat less, it means you should nourish more, support more. Movement is another area where that guilt and frustration collide during the low energy days, right? You think that if you can't do your full workout, it doesn't count, or if you don't push yourself, you're falling behind. But matching your capacity is one of the most supportive things you can do. And I learned this the hard way. During my son's 10-month sleep regression, I was barely sleeping, barely. I was waking up with migraines, headaches every day. I was exhausted mentally and physically, but I kept pushing myself to wake up, to work out, to stick to my routine because I thought that discipline would help, would save me. But what I didn't realize was that that lack of sleep was completely and utterly dysregulating my immune system. And of course, as a school nurse, I'm exposed to all of the little germs imaginable. And my body just didn't have the reserves to fight anything off. I kept getting sick, then the kids got sick, then my husband got sick, and it became a cycle. And it wasn't because I was weak, it was because I was pushing a depleted body past its capacity. So, matching your capacity isn't weakness, it's wisdom, it's prevention, and it really does support long term health. Your capacity changes, but the way you treat your body and the compassion you show your body shouldn't. Because when you force yourself to power through, your stress load increases, your cortisol rises. And cortisol isn't bad. It's a hormone, it's a survival hormone in the body. But when it stays elevated for too long, it starts to impact your sleep and your hunger cues and your cravings, your mood, your inflammation and even body composition goals. When you're working to transform your body and cortisol is high for too long, it can really impact that. Because when cortisol is high, your body shifts into this kind of protection mode. And so pushing yourself on those low energy days doesn't make you stronger or more disciplined. It actually works against your long term health. Supporting your body on low energy days is the physiologically smart thing to do. So pushing through isn't strength, responding is. There are a few habits I hold on to during low energy days, small things that really make a difference. And so I'd like to share them with you because maybe you'll find them helpful too. But it's that quick 10-minute walk, making sure I have some balanced snacks on hand. I like to do a bit of stretching. I also like to kind of sit whenever I can, a moment throughout the day for about 5 or 10 minutes and have like a quiet moment alone. I do a little bit of meditation sometimes. And these micro little tiny moments of support really do help me feel cared for and reduces that overwhelm and that stress. And so this is like the supportive structure I've created around my low energy days because these small supports count. Small steps count. So this week, when your energy dips, I want to encourage you to just ask yourself, what would support look like for me right now? Don't try to make it about perfection or discipline or control. And remember that low energy days are not a setback. Think of them as an invitation to slow down, to listen, to nourish yourself, to rest, and to reconnect with what your body might be asking for. Because when you learn to support yourself on the days you feel your lowest, everything else feels a hell of a lot more sustainable. That's all I have for today. Thank you so much for being here. As always, take what you need, leave what you don't, and share what resonates. And remember, small shifts create big change. Until next time.